Colonization never ended in the white supremacist system. And as we see today, the colonization is in the mind. Now, those who have been enslaved and those who have been colonized, we're still dealing with the remnants of that through the colonization of the mind. Pick up my book, 7 Steps to Decolonize the Mind, and we will help deprogram you from the colonization that was put upon you by generations and generations of white supremacy. You can pick it up today on Amazon.com. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today we have the Vice Mayor of Mason, Tennessee, Miss Virginia Rivers, with us today to give an update of what's going on in Mason, Tennessee. Now, many of you have, messaged me about this story. I think I started hearing about it while I was in South Africa, and then we got back to looking into it. And it's definitely a story that we all should look into. So, Ms. Rivers, thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, Ms. Rivers, could you tell us just a little bit about, the case that's going on in Mason? I know they recently had a court ruling about that. So could you inform us just really what's going on for those that maybe be their first time hearing this?
If you want to, what had happened is that the comptrollers wanted to come in and demand that we give up our charter or they would take over our finances. So with that being said, we decided we weren't going to give up our charter. So the next step for them was to come in and take over the finances. In the process of that, the comptrollers decided to, of course, send a letter out to our constituents and encourage them to have their leaders to give up the charter because he was trying to conquer and divide our city. By doing that, he also had sent out a letter of things demands that they wanted us to do once they take over our finances. They wanted us to pay $22,100 some a month up front before we could pay any bills. We could not pay any bills over $100 without their permission. Also, they were not going to allow us to file for any grants without them telling us that we could do it. So these are the things that we started out with, and they were supposed to have taken over control of the finances on March the 28th. We asked for a hearing with them, the mayor and myself. We did, and he responded to the letter. And the hearing was set up. Our finance team, the Hueys, along with CMFO, Miss Reva Marshall, our attorney, and myself, along with the mayor, went up to have the meeting with them and to show them that the numbers they had put out to the public was incorrect numbers. Because they was telling the public we owe $5,997. Well, we didn't owe that much because we had been paying on it. But however, they didn't bother comptroller did not bother to come to Mason, sit down and talk to us to see where we were. They just took it up on themselves to just do what they were doing. They never had a conversation with us or anything. With that being said, we showed them the numbers on that day. We showed them we had been paying on this debt all along, and the amount was not that high as they had stated. It was $400 and something, but it was not almost $600,000 that we still owed. Then they told MunPower told us that he would send his auditors down that Friday and have them to come look at the numbers. If everything looked good, then he would consider rewriting or the amount that they had requested of us to pay. Well, they did, and he did rewrite the amount. He took it from $22,000 down to $9,500, but yet we still had to pay that before we could pay any of our other bills. Along with all the other stipulation, nothing else has changed. We still had to get permission from them to pay the $100, anything that was over $100 for our bill. We also still could not apply for any grants, so that didn't change. So then our attorneys and everything went together and they decided to file for TRO, and went to court with that. I also like to say that the reason why all these years, yes, they talk about the finances was been bad for 20 years ago, but they never said anything about the finances of that town. They never bothered to come in to try to take over those finances at all until the Ford Electric Motor Company came to Haywood County, which is 4.5 miles from us. Before all these years, before 2016, the town of Mason had been ran by white administration, white mayor and administration. Prior to us taking over in 2016, and I say us because I was on that board during that time. What happened was is that when we came in office, everything was chaos. You couldn't find no records. You didn't know what was what. So, and they were already 4 to 5 years behind in the audit. So naturally, we were willing to come in and take up the slack and try to fix what they had done. Also, that administration had went down with almost $1 million out of Mason. So, and it was 4 people that were accused. 3 of them was white and 1 was black. Well, the one guy, white guy, admitted that he took taking $600,000. They didn't do anything to him. He didn't spend any time, nor was he made to pay that money back. The other guy, he committed suicide. The lady never went to court, never had to pay anything. That all these was white. That one black lady was the only one who was actually made to serve time as well as pay restitution for what she had taken. And to this day, she is still paying restitution. So, and I went back to bring you up because it's important that people know how this started. If Mason was in such a bad condition, why didn't the comptrollers come in when that money disappeared in Mason under the white administration? They waited till the black administration came in, and then everything changed. In 2016, when the white mayor, along with others, quit or walked out, the black mayor stepped up, who was a vice mayor at that time, stepped to the plate, not knowing what to do or how to do it. But she took on that job to try to rectify what was going on. Well, for the last 8 years, it has been black administration running the town, black mayors, along with the administration. There have been one or two that was not black on those board, and even now, in the present, there are 2 people that are not black that's on our board. I'm saying that to say this is that MunPower made the statement in one of his letters that he sent out, or should I say, a comment he made to the media, that he felt that we were ill-capable, or irresponsible for handling the finances of the town. Well, I felt offended to that because to me, he just used a nice word of saying that we were either stupid or was too ignorant to run the town finances. But we had been running the town finances doing just fine till Ford came in. When Ford came in, they showed up, wanted us to relinquish our charter or take over the finances of the town. And of course, as I stated earlier, we did not relinquish our charter. So they decided to move in and take control of our finances. So, like I said, we went to court and everything with and our attorneys, Attorney Clayton, along with Attorney Van Turner, who is with the NAACP. They went to court, and yes, on yesterday, the judge did deny the TRO. So, but as far as our lawsuit is still open, she only denied the TRO, which is means for those that listening, it means temporary restraining order.
Okay, so I have just a few questions. So you said that, well, let me get to the main thing. When they say give up your charter, what does that actually mean? For the audience that really don't understand that language.
What it means is for us to give up our charter is giving up our heritage. It's giving up the entire town. What he wanted was for a Republican, Jeff Huffman, who is the county mayor, to come in and take over Mason completely. He made the statement to us that that we could keep our address or we could continue to do parades if we tried, but we would have no say in what the county did if they took over. And that was the whole point. They wanted us to give up our charter, and so he could move in. The same man who is the county mayor, who sits on Ford's board as their chairman, who also purchased of almost 500 acres of land between us and the Blue Oval, and we are only 4.5 miles from the Blue Oval. So to me, all that seems to be um, a conflict of interest. However, I'm assuming they don't look at it that way.
Right. So yes, it is a conflict of interest majorly. But so okay, so for the past 8 years, you said y'all took over from the white people that ran it, that was stealing money. I thought it was also interesting that you said that three white folks got caught stealing money and none of them did jail time, but the only
None.
black person that was caught doing it too, they only went to jail and they having to pay back, but the white folks don't have to pay back. That's
No.
interesting. That's extremely
Very.
interesting. Well, let me ask you a question about that. Because that's clear cut, like that's like Jim Crow almost. You know what I'm saying? That's Jim Crow, literally. White people can do whatever the hell they want to do and commit crime. And we've been seeing that in Sister Virginia. We've been seeing that all over the country as of late. That white people get caught doing something and they don't go to jail. It's a slap on the wrist. It's been like blatant lately. But when black people do something, oh boy, we about to get football numbers.
Right.
It's
Well,
go ahead.
the thing is this is that it's obvious. I mean, anybody can see that what it's really all about. I have gotten calls from constituents here in Mason who
Mm-hmm.
was concerned. Well, I'm gonna say concerned because they stated to me that it seems one sided. That it seemed like it's a a racial thing. It's about the black. Well, my comment to them was is that it doesn't matter to me about your color. It matters to me what's right. And like I told them is that when you look at it, anybody that look at this situation, that's exactly how it's going to be seen. It's no need of us beating around the bush. We have to face reality. Black people have been walked over, mistreated, left out, and this is still happening. But what I wanted them to understand was is the reason I'm fighting for the charter or is because he attacked us. We didn't start the racial issue. MunPower started the racial issue when he referred to me and the board as being ill responsible, ill capable. When he used that term, he might as well have said we were ignorant, we were stupid, and we couldn't do it. I don't appreciate being labeled like that because I'm very intelligent and I have just as much, if not more, sense than he has.
Well, that kind of terminology what he was using, sister, from just living in America, that's a white supremacist trope that black people we can't run anything and oh, when y'all run it, it goes to hell. But why didn't he bring up that okay, this town got in trouble financially because of his people, white people? Why didn't he bring that up?
That's a good question to ask him. Because if they didn't talk about, all they said was that it was the Mason been in a financial situation since 20 years ago. That's all they stated. They never stated or ever even talked about. Not one time did they mention anything about what I just told you. They never said anything about who took the money. They never said anything about how it happened. All they said was it was our problem. We're the one responsible now. They know we didn't do it, and they didn't care that we are trying hard to fix what was wrong. It's the fact of who's in that position. It's the fact that Ford has come and there is money coming down the line that Mason can benefit from, and Mason can grow. Mason can be a whole nother city if they would allow us to be. But because of all this money that Mason is going to come into, and we're sitting in a prime spot because we 4.5 miles from the mega site. The train track runs into Mason and straight through Mason. Highway 70 runs straight through Mason. So we're in a prime spot, a perfect spot to benefit. So since they know that, they want to come in because they want what we have and what we own. We own our own waterway system. And anybody on the outside will have to get permission from us in order to hook up to what we have. And instead of MunPower getting with his friend, Jeff Huffman, and they come in and sit down with us and try to work with us, you just going to push us out the way. Well, see, another thing our constituents don't really understand, regardless to what your color is, black, white, or whatever it is, if Jeff Huffman we had relinquished our charter, and Jeff Huffman had came in and took over, it was going to hurt everybody, regardless to your color. So he don't care. He was after one thing, and that's to take over the land and control Mason. And Mason would no longer have the heritage they have that been in existence since 1855. They would no longer have that. So yes, we refuse to give that up.
And you know, this is what I also just being a guy that thinks about real estate, black, white, or whoever. If you 4.5 miles away from the new plant, every person's land that own land in that town, it's going to skyrocket immediately. So why would you want to give up your charter or anything? I'm like, man, I'm sitting on prime real estate right now. I'm not going nowhere. So every resident should be on that.
Right. And that's the point that we are trying to make to our constituents, whether they white or black. You need to understand, you standing on a gold mine, your land, everything is going to increase. But instead of us pulling together, you want to look at it as a black and white issue. Stop looking at it as racism and look at what's really happening and what they really want to do to Mason. Jeff Huffman wanted a permit to build his own waterway system. He got denied. So if he got denied and he's holding that 500 some acres on one side of Mason, and he also got some land on the other side of Mason, what can he do with it? Nothing, because he got to have waterway system. So he gonna move every one of us in Mason out of the way, not caring how we feel, what we think. Whereas now you got your own governing body who can regulate and run your town. You would no longer have that. None of the constituents here would even have a say-so in nothing that happens in Mason again if Jeff Huffman takes over.
Well, this Jason MunPower, guy, and I thought it was interesting. I seen a picture of him. He's saying all these, racist tropes, but yet he adopted a black child. I seen a picture of that. I thought that was real interesting. But this guy here, what they do is it seems like they're conspiring, and that's what they do. These people get together, conspire, and they're trying to undermine, not only the city government, they're trying to undermine the citizens. And unfortunately, because of the country we live in, you have people that think that, oh, well, the guy, see, he knew what he was doing when he started trying to make it more racial. because when some of the, let's say some, not all, some of the white people that could live in that town could say, "Oh, well, why y'all making it about black and white?" They knew what they were doing. He knew what
They
he was
knew.
doing. When he sent them letters out and the way he's talking to the media, he knew. And this is the other thing I want to bring up, because it's just two things. Maybe you can answer this. I let's go. Let's say he was right. $600,000 in debt. That's nothing. The country's $30 trillion in debt. What is he talking about?
Well, that's another question you can ask him. But see, because the thing is this: you can't read his mind, but you can read his action. You can see what he is all about, the things that he is really trying to do to this town. So, with that being said, what we got to do as constituents, pull together, let go of the race, let go of the black and white. Let's pull together, hold on to what we already have, which already belong to us, and not allow somebody on the outside to come in and take over your town and take over the land and do what they want. You have don't let people come into your town and tell you how you gotta live, what you gotta do, and try to make it seem like the people that you have in office can't are not capable of doing it. Let me say this to the constituent and to everybody that's listening. We have worked hard. This Mason was almost $1 million in debt. To this day, we only owe 242,600 and some odd dollars now. And that's all we are in debt. And don't tell me we haven't tried, we haven't worked this thing. We've been working hard trying to make Mason right. All we need them to do is to stand with us and let us stand together as a city, not as a black, not as a white, but as a city. Let us stand together. Let's fight together, because if we stand together, we can win this thing. We gonna win. By the grace of God, we gonna win. God don't like ugly, and he ain't too fond of cute. So we need to stand together and let's fight this situation.
Yeah, and going to Mason itself. I mean, let me ask you a question, because I know coming into places like Mason or any city, about bringing businesses and things like that. What could we do? Just like as people in Black America, especially people that live in Tennessee, right? You may have some brothers. I know what Mason's a little over 2 hours from Nashville.
About 3.
About 3. Okay. So what can people in Tennessee, or just all over Black America, but definitely our brothers and sisters in Tennessee, what could they do to possibly help bring, maybe businesses there, or what could they do to also help the city? Because we hear what's going on, but now let's focus on action. What could we do?
Well, what can be done is that investors can come in and invest in the town. You can bring, like for instance, what we would like to have is our gas stations and grocery stores, community centers. Hopefully, we can get our school back. Better our highways. It's so much can be done. Our infrastructure, our economic part of the town. We just need to improve everything. So if someone wanted to really help us, we can also, we do have a GoFundMe, but if somebody really wanted to help us uh, that way, they can also come to Mason, bring business, be willing to be an investor, be willing to come in and help Mason move from where they are. Because Mason is a good place. We small as of right now. We're a little over 1,300 people, but it's still, we still matter. Mason matter. The people in Mason does matter. And that's what's important. So we want people to come in and help by bringing business. Come in and talk about investing in Mason. Come in, tell them, I got ideas, because we have ideas. We know what we want to do, and we can do it. With Ford coming, there's jobs for the people here, our constituents here in Mason. they'll be able to get jobs because Lease Ford is often a training site that's going to be built there, according to them, where they can train people to learn how to do the jobs and hire these people they are training. So that's a benefit for Mason. That means that a city this small, eventually people here in the city will be able to get jobs that's going to pay them good money. That's an investment in Mason already. But if we can just come together and get people to start investing into our town, then things would get a whole lot better.
Yes, man. And ladies and gentlemen, those of you that talk about what's going on, she's telling you how to fight back by investment, right?
Right.
Because we always talk about, well, what happens to us as a people, but we can't fight back. So that's why I say some of you business owners right there in Nashville, that's why I keep talking to you more so than anybody else who are Black business owners. Take a trip to Mason and say, hey, what can we do to, open up a satellite business here, what we already got going on in possibly in Nashville or wherever you at, in the country. And I definitely would like to, come to Mason and just see the town itself, with my crew, and just see how it is because, we just kind of need to put some eyes on it and just show people where the opportunity. Would you be open for us to come?
Sure. Well, I'd love for you to come.
All right, we're going to try to make that happen. But, Sister Virginia, tell people if they got any questions, how could they possibly get in contact with you?
They can reach me on my number. It's 901-485-6250. Or you can call City Hall in Mason, main office up there. They will get the message to me. Or you can use my email, riversva61@gmail.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have any questions, then you can, send an email or make a phone call. But we thank you very much, Vice Mayor Rivers. We thank you very much. And yes, we're going to try to, get with our team and find a date that we can come out.
All right. Thank you for having me. Y'all have a